Welcome to another exciting educational video brought to you by All Vision Concept Academy. So today we'll be looking at respiration, and we will see the key definitions and concepts, the types of respiration, energy currency, ATP, organelle of respiration, importance of respiration, other experiments, and many more. So sit tight and enjoy this video. If you're here to subscribe, kindly subscribe to our channel to enjoy our STEM lessons. So we dive in. What is respiration? So respiration is the biological process by which energy is released from food substances. So it's the biological process by which energy is released from food substances like glucose in the cells. Okay, so we have two types of respiration. We have types of respiration. Number one, aerobic respiration. And number two, we have the anaerobic respiration. Okay, so aerobic respiration occurs in the presence of oxygen. Again, aerobic respiration occurs in the presence of oxygen. So oxygen has to be present for aerobic respiration. And you see when glucose combines with oxygen, the products will be given carbon dioxide and water. Carbon dioxide plus water. Energy is released in presence of ATP. Energy will be released for that process. So just remember that aerobic respiration has to do with oxygen being present. But for anaerobic respiration, this occurs without the presence of oxygen. This occurs without the presence of oxygen. So oxygen is not involved in anaerobic respiration. Okay, so that's just the major difference of the two kinds of respiration. We will see something like this. Glucose will mix with would decompose to give lactose or lactic acid, and energy is released. So in both cases, energy is released, but this first one is present of oxygen, and this second one is not with oxygen. So we move into the energy currency. When you hear the word energy currency, we'll be talking about ATP, adenosine triphosphate. So we have the energy currency known as ATP. ATP stands for adenosine triphosphate. It is the energy carrying molecule used in cells for all metabolic processes. So we just see ATP as energy currency of the cell. What that means is that it is the basis for what the cell using, exchanging energy. It is just a small molecule that stores and produces energy, stores and provides energy, and for many biological processes like muscle. Examples of those processes is e.g. muscle contraction. Again, I have active transport. We saw that in the previous video. Active transport. then also other processes like cell division and many more. So this is what this energy is used for. And the name adenosine, that's this one, is a nitrogenous substance. Adenosine is nitrogenous substance, and the triphosphate contains 3 phosphate groups. So the name tri. So the triphosphate contains 3 phosphate groups. Okay, so that makes it a very good ingredient for energy exchange. So why is ATP important? Well, it provides immediate energy for cellular activities. So it is used for photosynthesis. We are talking about respiration here. But we have respiration in focus because ATP can also be seen in photosynthesis, muscle contraction, and active transport. But we are looking at respiration here. Okay, so one of the two important functions of ATP in cells is that it provides energy for metabolic processes and powers active transport of substances. Okay, so that's what we know about ATP. So mitochondria are known as the powerhouse of the cell because they are the site for aerobic respiration. So for the cell, the organelle that is responsible for respiration is the mitochondria. Organelle is just like a part of a cell. So when we saw a cell where we labeled the brain part of the cell, and you see that part, the organelle known as mitochondria, you are seeing the powerhouse of that cell because that is where respiration occurs. So what are the importance of respiration? So it provides energy for growth. So living things grow by respiration. That is, you require respiration for growth. It also requires energy to repair and provide energy to repair for movement, active transport, and reproduction. So there are many more functions or importance of respiration. You know, basically respiration is the life of the organism. So we have as a guide in a tabular form difference between aerobic and anaerobic respiration. So we'll be talking about the two kinds of respiration since, and I am presenting here so that you can see clearly the difference between aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. Okay, so for aerobic respiration, we'll compare the features with anaerobic respiration side by side. So if we're seeing oxygen, for oxygen it is required for aerobic respiration, but not required for anaerobic respiration. Now, energy yield is high in aerobic respiration between 36 to 38 ATP, and energy yield for anaerobic respiration is very low. Okay, so end product of aerobic respiration is carbon dioxide and water. For anaerobic respiration, end products are lactic acid and ethanol. And it occurs for aerobic respiration, it occurs in the mitochondria, the cell, and for anaerobic respiration, it occurs in the cytoplasm. Okay, so this is just like a summary of the difference between aerobic and anaerobic respiration. So we're going to be outlining the steps of respiration. Steps of respiration. I would like to use the mnemonics. Go get kittens every time. Every time. Okay? So this mnemonics. G, that's go, get kittens every time. So this go is for glycolysis. That's the first step. So glycolysis is the process of breaking down glucose into smaller molecules. That's the beginning of respiration. It happens in the cytoplasm of the cell. So what happens here is that one molecule of glucose, 6 carbons, is split into 2 molecules of pyruvate carbons, 3 each. Understand? So this is where glucose is broken down. Glycolysis, it produces small amount of ATP, like 2 ATP, produces NADH, which carries electrons to the later steps. So next one is, okay, before I go to the next one, the key point for glycolysis is that it does not require oxygen. That is for anaerobic respiration. So this is what happens, the breaking down of glucose. Okay, so the next step is glucose breakdown. There's the GET, the GET. So glucose breakdown, this is the conversion of pyruvates into acetyl before entering the Krebs cycle. That's this Krebs cycle, this Krebs cycle. Okay, so the next step. So it happens in the mitochondrial matrix. It happens in the mitochondrial matrix. So this is where it happens. It happens in the mitochondrial matrix. So what happens under this cycle or under this step is that pyruvate loses carbon and releases carbon dioxide. So the remaining 2 carbon fragments binds with coenzymes A, forming acetyl, and it also produces NADH. So the key point under this step is that it prepares the molecules for complete oxidation. So that is for glycolysis. Now the third one is the Krebs cycle. The Krebs cycle is, we can call it citric cycle. Citric acid cycle, yes, citric acid cycle, or TCA cycle. TCA cycle. So that's the Krebs cycle. So the Krebs cycle happens in the mitochondrial matrix. Okay. So what happens here is that acetyl CoA combines with oxyacetate to form citric acid. Okay, so the citric acid is now broken down step by step, releasing carbon dioxide. So the key point here on that Krebs cycle is that it fully oxidizes carbon atoms from glucose and loads up electron carriers. So that brings us to the next one, electron transport. It happens in the inner mitochondrial membrane. What happens here is that NADH and FADH releases their electrons to the chain of protein complexes. Okay, so electron moves through the chain. You understand? Protons, positive ions, are pumped across the membrane, creating a proton gradient. Yes. So oxygen is finally paired, is the final electron pair combined with electrons and protons to form water. So the key point under electron transfer is that this is the step that creates energy needed to take to make lots of ATP. And the final is the transfer to ATP. Transfer to ATP, also called chemosis. Chemiosmosis. Okay, so where it happens across the inner mitochondrial membrane via ATP, protons flow back into the mitochondrial matrix through ATP synthase. This drives the production of ATC from ADP and phosphate. So the key point in this final stage is that majority of ATP comes from this step. Okay, so overall energy yield per glucose molecule in aerobic respiration, you see that glucose, for this glucoses, I have 2 ATP. For this Krebs cycle, I have 2 ATP, energy release. And for electron transfer, I have 34 ATP, and for the final stage, I have 38 ATP, So this is the step of respiration. Okay, so I will leave some questions in the description and the comment section for us to also practice this topic. Respiration is a broad topic. You look at it from the aerobic side and the anaerobic side. So make sure you watch this video and subscribe if you're not yet subscribed. And I hope this video has been beneficial for you. I'd like to thank you for viewing.